What the fuck is up, my bitches? If you are new here, hello, my name is Brittany. In today's video, we're just gonna get ready together and we're going to answer the beauty brand tag. So this was created by Tara Brooke. I'm gonna leave her channel link down below and her original video. I just thought this was such a fun video and I love tags. I think they're very old school, so I wanted to do it, and then I figure I gotta get ready to film anyway, so I'll just put on my makeup while I'm answering these questions. So if you guys like tag videos, make sure you guys hit the thumbs up button, get your shit together. What the fuck you doing? Let's just dive right in because I don't got time to waste today. The first question is, think back to when you first started your makeup collection. Are there any brands that you used then that you still use today? Oh my god, there's still so many brands that I used back then that I still use today. I think the better question for me would be, are there any brands that you no longer use that you used to always use? But as far as like brands that I still use today, oh my god, like Urban Decay, I don't use them as often. Like I used to only buy from Urban Decay. But I feel like for the most part, every brand that I initially started using, I still use. It's more of the brands that I no longer use that would be very interesting to answer. Funny I said that because the number 2 question is going to be follow-up. Which brands have you moved on from? I used to always purchase from Morphe. Oh my god, I was such a Morphe bitch back in the day. Holy Toledo. So Morphe is definitely a brand that I moved on from. I would say the next brand would probably be Kat Von D. I used to always be so inclined to purchase from Kat Von D. And then ever since that they kind of rebranded but didn't really rebrand, like this, the branding of it is still the exact same. It's just the name changed, which I think that was such a bad move. I would have much preferred them to, I don't know, I guess like rename it and change the entire aesthetic, and I mean maybe that's coming, just because I feel like the Kat Von D beauty was very much like, it reflected Kat Von D as a person. So I would say those are like my top 2 brands that I moved on from. Oh my god, I used to be such a fan of Kat Von D, but especially Morphe. Like all of my brushes used to be Morphe, and I just don't purchase from them as a brand anymore. I'm trying to think if there's any other ones that I'm just like, I will absolutely not purchase from, other than like Jacqueline Cosmetics, but that's a relatively new brand, so I don't think that really applies to brands that I moved on from. But I mean, if we're talking about influencers, Jaclyn Hill is definitely an influencer and that I've moved on from. Number 3, are there any brands that you thought were so expensive that you never buy from them, but now consider at least one of their products to be a holy grail? If so, which brand and which product? I feel personally victimized by this question just because Charlotte Tilbury, oh my god, I never thought that I would see the day that I would purchase from really any luxury makeup brand, and now I find myself favoring the brand so much more, especially Charlotte Tilbury, Hourglass. Oh my god, I've been like obsessed with Hourglass for years at this point. I never thought I would be able to justify spending so much on makeup products, because it's like they expire, they don't really last that long realistically, and I end up throwing away more product than I actually end up using, and I can't wear makeup every single day or anything like that. So I was always like, oh, I'll always be like a drugstore channel. That was like my mindset kind of going into everything. But now I feel like, I don't know, I'm so much more inclined to purchase luxury makeup, because I just feel like overall, I'm not ever really overwhelmed by luxury brands, because it's not like they launch products every 5 seconds. Like a lot of these like ColourPop, Morphe, like brands like that, where they're almost like the fast fashion of the makeup industry. Like I feel like thought goes into their products, and I feel like they really pay attention to the quality of their products. Don't get it twisted, there are definitely some duds when it comes to luxury makeup, but I feel like more on an average, I feel like their like quality is usually unmatched. Like with Charlotte Tilbury, I feel like the quality of her products is unmatched. I really can't ever find anything that reminds me of her products or anything. It's one of those things that I really pay attention to now. Ever since that I've built my collection, I'm much more like critical about my makeup now. But yeah, definitely Charlotte Tilbury, Hourglass, really any luxury makeup line. I never thought I would see the day that I would spend so much. But I feel like Hourglass and Charlotte Tilbury are like the top 2 that I always just, whenever they're launching new products, I'm always inclined to buy them. Same with like Dior. Dior is another one. I feel like they're just, I love their aesthetic. But yeah, those are the ones that come to mind for me when it comes to what products I consider like as soon as they're launching, and just the brands that I never thought I would buy from. Number 4 is going to be, what is a popular brand that you never tried and don't think you ever will, and why? This is the one question I was still just sitting here like pondering if there's any brands that I've never tried that I don't think I ever will, I really can't think of any. There's no brands that are completely off my radar except for Jacqueline Cosmetics, like I said earlier, but I have tried that brand, so I don't know. I don't think that there are any brands, at least that I could think of, that I'm just like, nope, never gonna happen, never inclined to buy from them or anything like that. Yeah, I don't think I have an answer for that one. Number 5, what brand perfectly encapsulates your current makeup aesthetic and explain? If I were to pick a brand that would like perfectly encapsulate me as a person, I would probably say Melt Cosmetics. But as far as for my makeup aesthetic, I would say, honestly, Charlotte Tilbury. I'm so into her products, so that's why I think I automatically lean towards Charlotte Tilbury. But as far as even for how I do my makeup, I'm very, not like minimal makeup, because I mean, I still do like a full face of makeup, but I'm much more about like the natural looking skin. I want the glowy skin. I just want everything to look way more natural, if that makes sense. So I think if I were to pick one brand, I would probably pick Charlotte Tilbury or like Hourglass, just because, I don't know, I feel like their products really just, they call to me and they call to what I desire in my makeup, you know what I mean? So I would probably say Charlotte Tilbury, just because I like the packaging of Charlotte Tilbury more than I like Hourglass. I still like Hourglass's aesthetic, but yeah, if I were to pick one, I'm going to pick Charlotte Tilbury. But if you were to wrap me up in a makeup brand, I would say I would reflect like Melt Cosmetics. Number 6, are there any brands you haven't wanted to try purely because you don't like their packaging? I would say Pixi Beauty. That was one that first came to mind, not only because of their packaging, but because of the price point for being like a brand that's available at Target. I don't know, like, I'm always curious about Pixi Beauty because I always hear people talk and rave about Pixi, but I go in store and I'm just like, I just don't really like their packaging. I don't know if it's like the green, I don't know if it's just because like the price point, I would think that it should reflect like better, not like luxurious packaging, but I don't know, maybe it's just something aesthetically that I just don't like about it. But if I were to pick a brand, that's the first one that came to mind. Was I was just like, I don't know, whenever I see their packaging, whenever I see their products, I'm just like, meh, I'm just never really interested. So I think that's who I would lean for that question there. Number 7 is there a brand you've tried only because their packaging lured you in? If so, were you happy with the actual product? I was trying to think of like the very first item that I had ever gotten because of the packaging. I really couldn't think of it. Oh my god, I know! It was the Too Faced, the little, oh my gosh, I'm gonna grab them because I still have them. These Too Faced Love Flushed Blushes. These were the first products that I've ever bought in because their packaging was so damn cute. I still love those. I still have every single shade of those. I bought them at like the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty. I think that was the very first product. I always am drawn in by Too Faced. If I were to pick a brand specifically that always draws me in because of their packaging, it's always Too Faced. Even though they're not really a brand that I'm purchasing from at the moment, but I haven't like completely wrote them off. But I always think that they nail it when it comes to their packaging, and I'm always initially drawn to their packaging, if that makes sense. Like, I don't care what the product looks like, it's the packaging that I'm always like, but what's the packaging look like? I feel like they're that brand that has really nailed it when it comes to just their overall aesthetic as a brand itself, but then just the packaging, I feel like, is their main focus, and I'm always into it. I always think it looks super cute. So, yeah, definitely Too Faced, but that's, I think, the product that I was first like, oh my god, the packaging is everything. I should probably show you what the packaging looks like on these. Oh my god, just the nostalgia of it all, and it's just so freaking cute. Like, come on. Number 8 is, some would say drugstore and mid-range prices are starting to overlap. What drugstore beauty brands are guilty of making this happen, and what are your thoughts on the rising drugstore makeup prices? I think Physicians Formula is definitely a brand that is guilty of that. Like, some of their products, I'm like, how much is that? Like, say what? Like, their palettes are like $20 sometimes. I'm just like,
I thought I was at the drugstore.
you know what though? In the same breath though, you can't really blame them because people are buying it. This market is so saturated, and as long as like the product reflects the price, like, I don't care. Like, for example, the Physicians Formula Healthy Foundation, I would pay more money for this just because of how much I like it. But it's more of when the products are crap, that's when I really have a problem with it. I'd be like,
how the fuck are you gonna try to charge me this much for this crap product?
but I can't really blame the drugstore in the same breath though, because it's what the market is. It's what the business is doing. And it's just, the makeup industry is massive right now. And I mean, as a business, why wouldn't you try to capitalize on that? It's just, I wish that the drugstore would focus more on their quality of their products. So like, if you're going to raise the prices, you better raise the quality of your products, or stop with your animal testing, L'Oreal. Those are the types of things that I'd be paying attention to. But overall, I'm just like, I don't know, I don't like bitch and complain about it, but I'm just not purchasing it. I'd rather spend my money on a high-end brand. I mean, in the end of the day, most of these, like, drugstore companies own these bigger companies. Like, it's so stupid because I'm just like,
oh, I'm more likely to buy these high-end brands.
But in reality, they're still owned by these drugstore brands. So it's like, are these really that different? No, it's just, you're paying for the name, you're paying for the designer, you're paying for, again, the brand name. So it's just, it is what it is. I don't really think about it too much. I just focus more on, like, is the quality of the product good? And if it's good, I don't really care. Number 9, with an anti-consumerist mentality starting to take hold in the YouTube beauty space, are there still any brands you still feel a loyalty towards? If so, why? I definitely see myself still having, like, brand loyalty, especially to Hourglass, just because, I don't know, I find myself being loyal to those brands that aren't, like, overwhelming me with their makeup launches. I feel like their makeup launches have a lot of thought behind them. I feel a loyalty to those types of brands, but especially, like, Hourglass. I've loved them for so long. I've loved so many of their products. But I'm also not one of those people that's on, like, a low buy or no buy. Like, if I'm interested in something, I'm gonna fucking buy it. But I do see a lot of people kind of shifting. But if I were to pick one, even though I don't really apply to this, if I were to pick a brand to be loyal to, it would be Hourglass. But even Charlotte Tilbury is another one. Like, I'm so loyal to those brands. And aside from just makeup, skincare, Tatcha. I fucking love Tatcha products. I talk about Tatcha all the time on my channel. If I were to pick some brands, those would be them. But again, I'm not one of those people that's like anti-consumerist. I'm not buying makeup. I'm buying what I'm interested in, and that's about it. Number 10, have you ever felt betrayed by a brand? If so, what happened?
Oh, I wonder, when was I betrayed by a brand?
Jacqueline Cosmetics lipsticks. Anybody remember that? It's been a year now and we still have no answers. That was definitely the one that came to mind when I've been betrayed by a brand, because I purchased those lipsticks. I went through that whole situation. I did rants on it. What a hot ass mess that was. And the fact that we still don't have answers as customers, the fact that people are still using these contaminated ass lipsticks in this world right now. The thing that kills me about that whole situation is so many people just wrote it off as, oh, it's a contaminant, like these things can't kill you. In reality, yes, they absolutely can if you have like an autoimmune disease. Do you see what's going on in the world right now? I potentially could have been affected by those lipsticks, even though I don't have an autoimmune disease. But in the case that you are somebody that does, or if you have cancer or anything like that, here we had an entire product line with the same batch code, no way to monitor where the contaminants were or anything like that. Everything should have been recalled. Everything about that whole situation was a hot ass mess, especially the way that it was handled by the owner herself. It was just, overall, I will never purchase from that brand ever again. I don't encourage anybody to purchase from that brand from that situation, because it was just a hot fucking mess. Like, I'm just like, how the fuck are we a year later, like to the day almost? I think yesterday was a year. How do we still not have answers? So you could tell I'm still pissed about it, right? I had to do my brows off camera. Next one. Are there any brands you feel give off exclusivity vibes, making you feel like you aren't cool, rich, or pretty enough to buy from them? If so, which brand and why? I don't know if exclusivity is the right way to explain this, but I get these vibes, I guess, with Jeffree Star Cosmetics. Like, if you don't like their products, people think like, oh, there's something wrong with you, or it's because you don't know how to do makeup type of thing. I don't know. I feel like there's some sort of exclusivity there, I guess you could say. I don't know. They're like the only ones that I could really think of. I've heard a lot of people say Glossier, but I never heard of Glossier until I started following Kate the Great, and she always talks about their products. So I've never experienced those vibes with that brand, but I definitely feel like there's some sort of something when it comes to Jeffree Star Cosmetics. Like, if you don't like his products, or if you give his products a bad review. Again, I don't know if exclusivity is the right way to explain it. But when I read this question, Jeffree Star Cosmetics was like these are the cool kids of the beauty industry type of thing, you know? Number 12 is, what's worse? Choice fatigue, exhaustion from too many makeup releases, or lackluster quarterly launches from a brand you're typically excited about? I think what's worse is lackluster launches from brands that I'm typically excited about, just because I wait so long for these launches to come out, and I would rather have too many options, I guess, than not enough options. But the only thing that I don't personally like about having all of these makeup launches is just for the simple fact that I feel like there is no thought that goes into them. But occasionally we get those good launches. Like the brand that comes to mind is ColourPop. I feel like occasionally we get those really good launches that a lot of people are excited about. So I'd rather have that than having a brand that I'm really excited about, like Charlotte Tilbury Hourglass, where I'm sitting here like, when's the next thing coming? And then when it comes out, it's just like, what? I'd rather personally have too much than not enough, but that's just me. Number 13 is, have brand trips or sponsored videos ever made you actually interested in a product or beauty launch the brand was promoting? For me personally, like when I see these brand trips, I'm like, fuck, I wish I was there. I'm not really paying attention to the products that they're actually like there to promote. I'm always paying attention to what are all these people doing and just the entertainment that we get on social media from these people just basically just partying and living their best lives on these trips. But for sponsored videos, I have found myself interested in products from sponsored videos because of the people that I watch. I trust the fact that they're doing sponsored content because they genuinely love the product or they genuinely love the brand. So I'm not one of those people that frowns upon sponsored content. I know a lot of people get really turned off by it. I think if it's like every video sponsored, that's when I'm like, okay, are we done yet? But if I hear people talk about the products over and over again, like if I was sponsored by Hourglass or Tatcha or Charlotte Tilbury, I don't think you guys would be surprised. That's the type of thing that I pay attention to. Like, have these people talked about these products before? And then if they haven't, like, then I'm just kind of side-eyeing, or I just don't watch. But I absolutely have found myself from sponsored videos wanting to buy products. The one that comes to mind is Jamie French. She did a video on this, like, cool-ass mirror, and it was just, like, basically, like, an iPhone on a mirror. It was so cool, and I found myself, I went to the website, I thought about buying it, but then I didn't actually end up buying it. But that was one in particular that came to mind. Like, I had never heard of the brand before. I had never heard of anybody talk about that brand before. I know there was some issues behind that whole thing, like with a discount code or something, but that was the one that came to mind. I was like, I had no idea what product that was. I had never heard of it. And I was just like, oh shit, I kind of want to buy that because it just looks so cool. So that's how I feel about sponsored videos. As far as the brand trips, I don't see a point in them, but that's just me. I think it's more of like the brand rewarding these people for, you know, making them all this money. And again, it's another way to promote their products. But as far as what I look for with these brand trips, I'm not looking at the products. I'm looking at what these people are doing. Number 14, are there any indie brands you hope to see sold at Ulta or Sephora in the future? Cleona Cosmetics. They were the first brand that came to mind just because I love their products so much. I love their customer service team. I love the owners. Like, they're such a good and mindful brand. But the reason that I would love to see them at Ulta is, one, because I would love to go in store and swatch their products, because I love, like, their multi-chrome line, but there's so many, and so many of them look very similar to one another. But then the other reason I would love to see them in Ulta, because their shipping times, they take so long. Like, I had to pre-order their Vibrant bundle, and I should be getting it this month, but I ordered it like 2 months ago. So it's one of those things that I wish that they were in store, just because I would love to be able to swatch those, like the multi-chromes. Their line is just so sickening, but it's just, they always look so similar. That's why I really like watching swatch videos for those. So definitely Cleona Cosmetics for me. If you guys haven't seen my swatch video from my last order from them, their eyeshadows are absolutely stunning. I highly recommend them. It's just, again, their shipping times take so long. So I hope one day, I would love to see them available at Ulta. All right, I've got one more question, so I'm gonna like blaze through the rest of my makeup, and I'll come back for like one of my last steps so you guys could see the finished look. So BRB, makeup's done. Number 15 is going to be, if you could give any beauty brand a rebranding, which brand would it be and what elements of the brand would you modify? I would take the Kat Von D or KVD Vegan Beauty, whatever it's called. That's exactly why I would totally get rid of the KVD, just detach completely from it. I feel, honestly, as a consumer, I feel like they're just trying to manipulate consumers into thinking it's still like Kat Von D, you know? Because the aesthetic of it hasn't changed at all. Like, if people weren't so heavily involved in YouTube like most of us are, or really know about Kat Von D being no longer a part of the company, it's just one of those things. It's like, just detach from it. Just completely redo your thing. Redo your aesthetic. It's owned by Kendo anyways, so it's like, come on. Let's just remove it and start over, pretty much. At least that's what I think. I'm going to give a second one just because I touched on that earlier. I would say Tarte as well. Tarte is one of those brands. I used to be so into like everything that they launched, and it's like, I feel like they don't really have an aesthetic anymore. It's kind of like it's 1 minute it's mermaids, 1 minute it's like at the beach, 1 minute it's this. And now they're starting to have like these different brands, like I think Pop Sugar is part of Tarte. It's just like, it's very confusing to me, and I feel like it's almost like cheapening the brand. I don't know. It's just one of those things. I feel like just overall the whole aesthetic of the company, it's like, wait, what is it? Like, what is Tarte? Tarte used to be all about like the Amazonian stuff. They used to be about like natural complexion products and stuff like that. I feel like they really just kind of got lost in almost like being like in the fast fashion of the makeup industry. At least that's to me. I noticed ever since they're launching so many more products and there's not much creativity behind the brand, at least it seems to me. I just noticed that I'm not as inclined to purchase from them anymore. But back in the day, I used to purchase from them all the time. Like every launch that came out, I was always interested in. And then ever since, they've been it's almost like they're the ColourPop of the higher end brands. At least, I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. So I'm going to give you guys those two, but that is my thoughts and opinions on that. So thank you again to Tara for creating this tag. It was so much fun to talk about all these things, and it's just so fun. I think tags are just a really good way to tie everybody together, and it just gives you different perspectives, different opinions, and it's just fun. So I'm going to leave all the questions in the description box below if you guys want to answer them in the comments, or if you have a channel as well. Make sure you guys tag me if you guys do this video, or tag any of your friends, favorite creators, whatever the case may be. Let them know to keep this video going, because this is just, it's so fun. It really is a community thing, and that's what I love about tag videos. So thank you again to Tara for creating this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to see you guys in my next one. Peace!